because a lot of people ask me all the time. They're just like, you keep saying bartenders need help. What about the plumbers? They need help too. I'm like, why? They can go back to work now. And a lot of them never had to stop. And no government ordered them that they're not allowed to be plumbers. And that no plumbing is allowed to go on in the United States. I mean, if this was some kind of like poison gas in the water main and plumbers were not allowed to like work, then yeah, absolutely. Be like, well, shit, what about all these plumbing companies? Like, they can't go out of business because as soon as this thing is over, we're going to need people to come back in and fix the shit in our house. Like, that makes sense. As soon as this shit's over, we're going to need people to come back and like, I got a leaky faucet. I don't know how to fix that. I got to call a fucking plumber. And if there's no more plumbers left, then who am I going to call? And the base fallacy of this whole thing is that people are looking at it saying like, oh, well, I mean, it's like people can't go drink in bars anymore. So, it's probably better. It'd be cheaper to drink at home. It's like, you're right, it's cheaper. And it kind of really highlights the fact that drinking is not the primary purpose of a bar. Any more than eating little wafers is the primary purpose of a church. Because if you don't know anything about Catholic Church and you're just like, what all culminates in this thing, or they all get in line and this guy puts a little wafer on their mouth and then they all go home. And we're like, well, I guess that's the place where you have to listen to the guy like say a sales pitch, and then you finally get that wafer that you've been waiting for, and then you leave. So if you don't know anything about Catholicism, like that's as good an explanation of the entire Catholic Mass as anything else. You're just like, okay, wafer accomplished. I don't know why they could have talked less and just ate the wafer in the beginning and then left. And maybe when they streamline the industry, someone will have the innovation of going like, well, why don't we just pass them out like at the door, and then people will just go back to like eat brunch. But that's not what a church is for. And in no more is a bar for drinking. It's where drinking happens. It's a very different thing. It's a place for people to gather, which establishes and builds community. And they gather in the presence of rhythm and music. And they gather in the presence of rhythm and music and people, and they consume alcohol, which is one of the oldest rituals in humankind. We are the original places of worship. We are doing the same thing that every culture since the dawn of alcohol, which is well over 10,000 years, have done, where they're just like, hey, wait, like drink, like eat this fruit. It's bad, but it makes you feel funny. Beat on that drum. Let's go make out in the corner, and then we'll see visions. I mean, that's a lot of people's Saturday night. And that's been the Saturday night for most of humanity for a long time. And then every once in a while, some clever boots comes along and says, like, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to get all the fermented fruits together and I'm going to say that they were brought down by some god I made up. Right? So bars are no more places that are just designed to consume alcohol than churches are to hold hands. Because that happens in a Catholic Mass too. And they're like, oh, everybody holds hands in the middle. That seems pleasant. I don't know why they waited so long, but okay. It is the exact same thing. And, because we have been required to sacrifice the well-being of our industry and our own personal well-being, how many bankruptcies will happen? How many people will get kicked out of their apartment in mid-July when all this shit runs out? How many people will literally look at their bank account and look at their wife just leaving them and look at the fact that all the stuff that they built over the course of their careers and their lives is gone to nothing? How many of them will look at it and say, like, I'm just going to commit suicide? Because it's going to happen.